Hello, 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 and welcome back to the RelatePod, a space where we explore the intricacies of human connections. I am your host, Livi Niyo, and as always, I'm excited to delve into another amazing conversation. At Relate, we're talking about all things parenting, particularly parenting teenagers. And today, joining us for the first time on the RelatePod is the amazing Mrs. Sarah Nakirayi Nsubuga. Welcome to the RelatePod, Sarah.
Thank you, Livy. I'm so
How are
excited to
you
be here.
today?
Good.
Oh, you're good. You're looking
Excited.
amazing.
Thank you.
I am so glad that we get to have this conversation. You and I have
Finally.
passed through so many hoops to make this happen. We should have been taking pictures and
I tell
bloopers
you.
of behind the scenes. But here we are now, and it's such a
Yeah.
joy. I'm excited for all the things that are going to come through the nuggets. And yes. So tell us about yourself. I know a bit of Sarah. We went to the same primary school. Yes. You were a prefect, I think, as well.
Yes.
That's what I can remember. Yeah, but I feel like I've known you for a while, quite a long time. Primary school is a long time ago.
We're old.
We really are. I hope the gray hairs are behind and can't be seen. But yeah, tell the Relate Pod community about Sarah. Give us a glimpse of who you are.
My name is Sarah Nakirayi Nsubuga. I am a Christian Christ follower. I have been married to Arthur Nsubuga for 15 years. We have 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys, aged 13, 11, 8. I was going to say 9. He's almost turning 9, and 3. The last one is 3. I work with Bethel Counseling and Consultancy Center as an administrator and support, and we support people to walk through life. We give them support and help and encouragement, especially through God's word. Yeah.
Nice. I see so many intersections between what you're doing at Bethel and what we're doing at Relate. And I'm so happy we get to have this collaboration
Yeah.
talking about parenting teenagers. Yes. And I had the ages of your children. You are a mom to a teenager and a preteen and someone on the way to being preteen.
Yep.
How is that going? Give me one word to describe parenting a teenager and preteens.
Roller coaster. You go down, then up, then down, then you feel like, yeah, you're at the peak, then the next day down
You're
in the
down
trenches.
again.
Yeah. Roller coaster of emotions, of feelings, of thoughts, so many.
Oh my goodness. Well, as you know, I'm a mom to very young children. We are coming, but we are
You're
still on
coming.
this other side. Yes.
You're
So
coming.
I'm wondering, how is that shift? Because you even have a younger child, yes, who is in my bracket. So I'm curious, how is that shift from parenting babies, infants, toddlers to now a teenager, to now preteens? How has that shift been for you? Did you need to do some preparation? Give us some insights on that.
When you asked, did I need to do some preparation? I was very afraid of the shift. When my firstborn was inching towards, when she was a preteen, she was about 10, I was afraid of the teenager, age. And thankfully, God is so kind. A group of friends that I'm a part of, we study books to do with parenting. And so we had just finished one book on parenting and really toddlers and infants. And yeah, children up to preteen, and then we're starting a book parenting teenagers. So the help I received from that book has helped me through the preteen years of my firstborn to the teenagers. The shift was it actually gave me comfort because the shift is more in how you communicate, how you deal with them, how you talk to them, how you approach them. Because now I have a toddler and I talk to him very differently from how I talk to my 13-year-old. And it can be a bit of a strain because you have children at different levels, stages, different ages. And so you have to keep constantly shift how you speak to them. And yeah, that shift, that conversation, those conversations that we used to have in the group, and many of the parents had children older than mine, it was helpful to know how to understand this creature. We often think of teenagers as a different species of people, but yeah, to understand what they're going through, and therefore how what I will communicate as if I'm speaking to a toddler will be translated to them. It
Mm,
doesn't come off the same way. So that
mm.
shift, that talking, learning from other people and learning from the book was very helpful.
Also, you did have some preparation.
It did.
Note to self, you better prepare. Be around parents of
It's
teenagers.
very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What has been the most rewarding part of watching your daughter grow, the teenager particularly?
Watching her make the right choices without me telling her to has been very rewarding because of how, like I said, how we went through the book with other friends and learned how to communicate. I'm a very strong-willed person, to put it mildly. And so I'm
Mommy
trying not to
knows
be
best.
controlling.
Listen
So listen to your mother. I know better. And then I'm a firstborn. So you
Mm,
kind of you want to say, I know what I'm talking about. So that
mm,
preparation helped me to know to sometimes back off. Sometimes that means allowing her to make mistakes, but it's been really rewarding to see her, to speak to her, not in a way like how I speak to my toddler and say, do this or you're getting punished, or,
mm, mm,
but to actually speak to her like I'm speaking to her like an adult who's allowing her to and allowing her to make her own decision and then seeing
mm,
her make the right decision. That's been
mm.
because you're like, oh, okay, she's not going to completely fall flat on her face.
That's very hard, I can imagine, for you as a
Very,
parent, as a
very,
mother,
yeah.
relinquishing control.
Mhm.
Literally, it's hard.
It,
Especially since like the first 10 years of their life, you're literally telling them what to do, you're
you.
advising them, you're
And
counseling
they
them,
have to obey you.
and they have to obey you. They don't have, okay, sometimes they do have leeway, they disobey, but
Yeah.
they're really listening to you. And now all of a sudden in the teenage years, how I want you to bring us into that process for yourself. How did you
Mm.
get to that place where you can back off? How has backing off looked like for you?
What has backing off looked like for me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Backing off has looked like listening to her opinion without listening to it to change it, listening to what she thinks
Mm,
without trying to
mm,
figure out what she's doing that is wrong. It's been
mm.
seeing
Oh
her
my goodness. I feel
as an individual, as a person who has interests, desires, dislikes that may be different from mine, but are not exactly sinful. They're just not mine. Yeah, that's so I have to step into when I'm talking to her, I'm seeing a person who has interests,
mm,
views, dislikes that are not similar to mine, but I have to listen to her and not try to fix, but I'm actually listening to a person talk to me, like how kind of like how you talk to your friend and you listen to them. You're not trying to change them to make them mold
mm.
them into what you want. You're listening to them to understand. And then as a Christian parent, to then, if there is wrong thinking in the mix, not to say, you're thinking wrong, you're supposed to do this, but to gently guide and encourage using God's word. That's so,
Right.
and it's taken a
Mm.
lot of prayer. The Holy Spirit tells you don't say, then you say, then you fail, then yeah, it's been, like I said, a roller coaster.
Roller coaster.
But
What I'm also hearing
yeah,
is a lot
but
of learning on your part. A lot
yes,
of learning.
a
Not.
lot of that.
Mm,
You can't remain the same. You think you know. I mean, you're like, I was a teenager. I know
mm,
how to parent that. It can't be that it has changed so much. But you see, you are a teenager, not a parent of a teenager. So you have to learn
mm.
how to. And then
Parent.
your teenager is different from you. You may not have struggled with something, and they're struggling with it. And so how you deal with them is not the same way you would have dealt with yourself if you were the parent of yourself as a so it's constant learning. And then you have to do it 4 times because you have 4 children.
Because every child
It's
is
different.
different,
Yeah.
unique. Wow. 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 Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 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 What could you share one thing your teenager has taught you about their generation that has surprised you?
They are more intuitive than I think we were.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
They see, I don't know, when they speak, there are things I don't think I saw when I was their age. They
Mm,
notice so much, but they don't talk unless you ask them. They will not say, they notice people's moods, they notice how things operate, they notice things about the country. They have so many, they're so aware. I think because the information is available to them, I don't know. But yeah, they're very
Mm.
intuitive. Most of them, at least. I don't know if it's just my daughter, but I've seen her friends as well. There's an understanding of how things work that I don't think we had as to the level or the depth that they have. Yeah, yeah,
Mm. That's nice. Intuitiveness is a good
it is.
skill to have to
Yeah,
navigate life. Nice. I'm thinking about I've read this before that, when kids are younger, the parent is everything. They go to the parent is a friend. But as they grow older, as they go into the teenage years, then they prefer their peers. The
yeah,
opinion of their peers seems to hold more weight than the
yeah,
opinion of the parents. Have
yeah.
has that been something you've noticed with your teenager at this point?
I, yeah, I have. I've seen it. You say something and you say it with all that grace, and then her friend says the same thing, and she's like, "Oh, so and so said it." I'm like, "I said that to you first." Yeah, you see it a bit, and
Mm,
you pray for good friends. But then
mm,
there's something I learned as I was reading a book, Shepherding a Child's Heart, that that teenagers want to be like they want to be like the crowd, they want to fit in.
mm,
But you see, the crowd, when you try to fit into the crowd, you have to change who you are to fit in.
mm,
And so, as a parent, when you have to be their safe space, you have to be their
mm,
safe space in the sense that they don't have to change who they are when they're with you.
mm,
Do that, you're not constantly saying, "Why are you doing that? Don't do this." Don't you take them as they are. And if there are any things to correct, you correct them with grace and, guide and speak in a different way than how you speak to your toddler. But
mm,
you welcome them as they are. And then they begin to
mm,
see the difference. When I go here, there's too much work. I have to change who I am. I have to fit in because I'm not like that. So I have to do this. And then they begin to be more comfortable with you as a parent than they are with their teenage peers.
mm,
Because no one wants to have to constantly change and adjust who they are just to please people. They would rather
mm,
just be themselves. So that tip has kind of helped. So there are
mm.
moments when they'll listen more to their friends. I remember the second born, when she joined her elder sister in her new school, every time she kept saying, since I said this, she said this, she said this. And I'm like, hello, I said the same things to you yesterday, but
Mm.
it's always a
Since since that holds more weight because since that is walking through where
yes,
she's going. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So it's there, and you pray for good friends, and you learn to speak and let people sometimes fall on their faces.
And
It's a
learn.
hard
That's the
one.
hardest. That's personally for me, that's hard. If I
Yeah,
can do anything to protect them from not going through something, I am ready to take those bullets, but that's not realistic and that's never helpful.
yeah. And
Them or
sometimes
even
those bullets help their lessons that they need for
mm,
later in life.
life, yeah. Okay. So have you hit any parenting roadblocks? You've done some great preparation, you've read books, you have a parenting group, you have other parents with older children, you're gleaning from them. You have a community that you're doing parenting with. But I'm still curious, have you hit any parenting roadblocks while parenting your teenager? And would you share with us just an example of one?
Definitely, you
Mm.
hit you hit roadblocks. I mean, no matter how much you prepare, you're still
Mm.
dealing with a volatile human being.
Who
And
awakens your own
yeah,
volatility.
exactly. Then you add yourself to the mix, and it's a really volatile situation. So you have all these guidelines, but there are times when you will either forget or you don't want to do. You feel like if I do it that way, things are going to fail. So let
Mm,
me do things the way I want to do them. And I think I have struggled um, with allowing my daughter's personality to lead. I don't know how to say it. It's been the snag I've hit is her personality changes depending
mm,
on who she is with. I
Mm.
don't like, I'm like, can't do that. You have to
Mm.
be yourself. But you see, she's not like me. She has some
Mm.
introverted quality. So you have all these ideas of, no, 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 okay, leave her to be the way she is. And I'm like, no, but if you do that, you have to be aggressive. You have to do this, And then sometimes you're relating to her through some trauma of your own because of something you
Mm.
did, how you lived, and how it didn't work for you, and you're seeing her make the same mistakes, and you're like, no, don't do that. I did that.
Mm.
And so the snags, generally speaking, have been around her personality and me allowing that God can still work in those situations. So sometimes I try to tell her, no. I remember one time I said, no, 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 no. You need to do this. Talk to someone like this, do like this, make small talk, do like this. And she was extremely stressed. She was
Mm.
so stressed. It was hard for her at school, making friends. And here I was making it seem like, no, you're not good enough. You have to adjust who you are to.
Mm.
Because I'm bringing my anxiety of, my daughter is amazing. She needs friends. You guys need to know that she's a good friend. So, okay, let me just help you open your eyes. See
Mm.
how amazing she is. And I had
Mm.
to let go and say, no, she'll be fine. So that was something that I think that was a mistake I made. Thankfully, it's been kind of rectified. God speaks to you really and tells you back off
Mm.
and
Mm.
allow her to let her be. And yeah.
During myself as a teenager, and
Mm,
just as you were speaking about her trying to figure out, you saying that she keeps changing her personality depending on where she is or who she's with. And I'm remembering myself as a teenager and I'm thinking, I think that's perfectly normal because you're figuring out who you are yourself. Like, I wish there was a manual of this is who
it's
you
true.
are. Now, as adults, we are
Mhm.
conceiving. Like, you're not the same person you are, shifted in who you are. And so from what I'm hearing you say is that a lot of work in parenting of the teenagers is really a self for you even as a parent. There's a lot of work you need to do in shifting your perspective, shifting your mindset, in becoming more empathetic, becoming more of a
Mhm.
listener. You said something powerful, listening not to change someone, listening not for your own, to bring in your own thing, but just truly, truly listening to understand someone and who they are. I
Mhm.
think a lot of the work is on the parent, actually.
It's a lot of work. You
Yeah,
kind
on
of
the
think that when
parent.
you're stepping into the parent role that, I'm just going to be dealing with
With
this
that.
person's behavior. So much work. I think it's one of God's greatest sanctification tools to just work in
Mm,
you, to teach you how to speak more
mm,
graciously, to be kinder, to be more empathetic. Yeah.
yeah. And
Mm.
even what you say, like sometimes you see her making mistakes that mirror some of the mistakes you made as a teenager. And so you're responding and reacting from the trauma of your
Mhm.
mistakes.
Yep.
And that as well is an area of, okay, self introspection and reflection and saying, okay, there's some unhealed areas in me that I need to work through and allow myself, like maybe I'd ignored it or not paid attention to it. But when those moments come, is to actually pay attention and say, what are the unhealed areas in my life that I need to work through so that I'm not parenting from a place of trauma,
Yeah.
that I'm
Yeah.
not reacting or responding from a place of fear.
Mhm.
Yeah, because otherwise, that in itself can create more distance between you and the child, the teenager,
Yeah.
because they're like, they may not get it
Yeah.
and
They don't get, they're
they
like, what?
won't get it. Why are you responding like that? Why
Yeah.
are you overreacting? Like, my
Yeah.
mom is always overreacting. And then you
And so,
stop
and
doing
then
that.
they shut you out.
Out, yes, because now you're reacting too strongly, yet, but you're reacting like that because you have unhealed parts of you in that specific area.
And unfortunately,
Yes.
sometimes you don't realize that you are reacting from a point of trauma. But personally, I've found that the Holy Spirit really points out your sin
Mm.
and then is like, I think you need to surrender this to the Lord and let it go so that
Mm.
you can actually parent your child.
Done well,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
read a quote somewhere, I think in a book, saying that you're not just parenting a child, you yourself are becoming, like you are,
Yeah.
it's a journey, it's a two-way journey. As you
It really
parent, you're also, there's work happening to
Yeah,
you and in you as
so
well.
much. Yeah.
And that's, I think, what makes parenting very sacred, very special, and something we shouldn't, take very lightly. Okay. What's a topic you wish you had a better understanding of when it comes to raising a teenager today? A particular teenager, because we've said they're different. So when you think about parenting your daughter, what's a
Mm,
topic particular to her that you
yeah.
wish you had a better understanding of?
I think sometimes you feel like you want something to read their mind.
A cheat
Okay,
code
I'm
of sorts.
talking to you, but what are you thinking as I say these things? I want to know
Mm,
what's.
mm.
I think understanding the teenage brain properly, especially
Ooh.
2025, would be
Mm.
very helpful. I mean, generally speaking, teenagers are the same across the board,
Board.
the
Mm.
world, and across the ages, but the specific challenges they're going through in this day and age make them think differently. And because there's so much noise from the media, I think a topic would be understanding them, especially in as regards how to help them wade through the noise, the media
Mm.
noise.
Mm.
It's so loud. It's so loud. Even if you say, "Oh, I'm not going to give my child a phone, my daughter doesn't have a phone or a tablet or a laptop, but still it gets to her." And so just knowing how to wade through and then speak to them in a way that is relevant, quote unquote, relevant to their generation. I think, I don't know, those seem like many topics in one, but
Which is very telling of how crazy the roller coaster the
yeah.
landscape is. Like there's so much to wade through and navigate in understanding them. I think that for me, for a long time, the focus used to be on the physical changes that happen,
Yeah.
body changes, you know,
Mm,
that was usually the focus. But
yeah.
I think in today's world, with information that we have, that we have access to, it's also understanding the neurological developments that are happening to them, their emotions, the way they are thinking, why they are thinking the way they're doing. That's
Yeah.
some of the stuff that we need to understand as parents so that we are able to communicate in ways that make sense to them. When you hit a snag in your
Mm-hmm.
parenting, I know that you and Arthur are deeply involved in your children's lives. Who do you speak to? You mentioned a parenting book club
Group. Yeah.
that you have, a group, other parents. Tell us a bit more about how does Bethel counseling help parents?
Better counseling helps parents kind of understand what's going on. Because usually when you're communicating
Mm,
wrong way, or you hit a snag, or you're doing something and it's not working, it's because there's something you're not understanding. So you're hitting the wall because you don't realize that the wall is there. Or that you have to go around it, or
mm,
because you don't understand it. So helps you understand
mm,
your unique child's needs, but also, like we've said, a
mm,
parent, there are things you're also learning. So it helps you also understand yourself as a parent and where you're coming from, why you're doing the things you're doing.
mm,
Why don't you want your child to, let's say, go to boarding school? Because of what you went through. I remember meeting someone who said, I suffered in boarding school. I feel like I was abandoned by my parents at an age when I needed them the most. Therefore, my child
most.
will not go to boarding school. And that's neither here or there. It's
Mm,
neither right or wrong, but you understand now why you're coming to that decision. Is it out of fear? Do you understand your child, unique as they are, understand why they need a particular kind of support? Or are you just trying to use a general
your
template?
own experience.
Yeah, you're saying all my children will do A, B, C, D, not realizing that this child is different from this child. So Bethel helps you understand the needs of your child. We talk with you, um, talk with your child, understand and help you both see each other, not as enemies. You're different, but you're not enemies. You're all working towards a common goal because all of you want your child to succeed. Both of you want your child to succeed. So you're coming together to understand one another, to be able to communicate better such that you can achieve your goal.
Okay. We've been seeing the flyers. You have a parenting seminar coming up. And what should people expect? Why should a parent come for this particular parenting seminar?
Now, the thing is, with the parenting seminar, people think that, oh, I come when I have problems, or counseling in general. They're like, when I have a problem is
Yeah.
when I come. But the parenting seminar is just to help you understand teenagers, understand their needs, understand how you can communicate with them clearly. So when you come for the parenting seminar, it's going to be a lot of self-exploration. How you parent your teen or your preteen or your child, and understanding what this species is, these teenagers. Who are they and what are they and what do they want from us? And then how can I be more effective in my communication? So there'll be sessions, there'll be a Q&A session, but there'll also be sessions where you will have an opportunity to profile kind of your teenager and figure out what's not working and why it's not working.
Wow. Okay. I think we can sort of be at the end of this conversation in the same way that there's so much, so much to learn and learn in understanding teenagers, understanding ourselves as the parents.
Yes.
And we really, really hope that if you're a parent out there, teenagers, please make the time, go for this seminar, learn something that can make the journey easier, healthier, happier, less anxious. The journey doesn't have to be all negative. There can be some beauty in it. And such seminars, spaces like the one being crafted by our friends at Bethel Counseling are exactly what every parent as a teenager, or you have preteens. This could be an area where you prepare for those days that are ahead, with your children when they become teenagers. So please, please, please sign up. The details will be provided. You can check out the details on Mrs. Sarah's social media. She's always posting about them, even on the Relate social media. We are sharing about this because we know how vital and important it is. As Sarah said, sometimes people think counseling is for when the problem has started. But listen, you can prevent the problems from happening.
Yes.
You can prevent the problems from actually happening.
Very
You can
much so.
prepare.
Yes.
So please make the time. This truly, truly matters. And so make the time. We encourage you to make the time, go for the seminar, and do share with us what things that you're learning. Communicate, tell us, oh yeah, we learned this. Pass on the lessons so that we can have healthier parenting happening in our communities, and that our teenagers can know that, we can have better positive stories around parenting teenagers rather than the fear-filled, anxiety-filled, worrisome vibe that's out there when people think about parenting their teenagers. So thank you
This
so
is
much.
just to help everyone stop being afraid of these
Yes.
wonderful people that we call teenagers.
Yes. And we were once
We
teenagers
were.
ourselves.
We were.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know. So thank you so much, Sarah, for your honesty, for
Thank you,
sharing with
Livy.
us your journey, as you parent your daughter and the preteens. And I just pray that more grace, more learning. I've learned so much from this conversation. But my biggest takeaway is one, prepare,
Yeah.
learn as much as you can,
As much
so
as you
that when
can.
that time comes, you have a toolkit to get something from. It's so clear that you are a compassionate and very dedicated parent,
I don't know
and
about
your
compassionate.
insights are truly invaluable. No, I could hear it. I could hear the compassion as you talked about the compassion to your daughter and what she is navigating in this season of her life. So thank you. Thank you. And
To
thank you, everyone, for tuning into this conversation, because parenting a teenager is quite the journey of letting go, holding on at the same time. It's about navigating a new relationship with the person your child is becoming. And remember, you're not alone in this. There are resources, there is community, and there are new tools waiting for you on the journey. This is one of them. So sign up for that seminar. I can't say that again and again and again. Please go
and share.
and share with us what you learned from the seminar, what you've also gleaned from this conversation. Please follow the Relate Pod wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Amazon, we're on Google, we are on Apple Podcasts as well, and we are also on YouTube. So follow us as well on Instagram. We are Relating Edge. We'll be sharing more and more about this topic. There'll be so many tips. Please like and follow us, subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an amazing conversation like this. Till we meet again, as you know at Relate, living is loving. So stay connected. Show kindness to someone today after listening to this conversation. Goodbye.